4 days, 3 custom statue unboxings. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back yesterday, we reviewed a Thor on Throne. Go back 2 days and you will see 3 custom statues unboxed live on the Extreme channel. Today, we are going to look at this piece right here. Are you ready, bub? I can't pull that off, can I? I'm Mr. X, this is the Extreme channel. We have Extreme Collectibles, and today we are reviewing custom quarter scale Wolverine Wolf Killer yellow suit. What does all that mean? Well, custom piece means it was a private commission. They made 75 of these, and the reason I said yellow suit, they have a brown suit variant. This is 1/4 the size of what he would be in real life. This is my first piece from this custom group, and before we talk about it more, I can't tell you where customs come from because it's against the rules. Shh. If you want to know why, I can't help you with that either. But I can talk about this statue, and I'm pretty excited because he exceeded my expectations. But I purchased him for $950 and just received him, and I'm just blown away. It's sculpted by the famous Sosa. If you are into statue collecting or anything like that, you know who that is. And the sculpt, the quality, everything is just really well done. I didn't think I'd like it as much as I do, and I do. So kind of a spoiler, as we review this piece, we're going to use the extreme scale. There may be some X's. I don't know. I kind of make that up as I go along. That's how I operate in real life. Let's get dimensions on him really quick. So he's about 15 inches tall. Deep from his base to the front of his claws is about 10.5. And wide, he is 14 inches. Now, I'm a big Wolverine collector. I have about 15 Wolverine statues, about 10 more coming. And they're actually, most of them are behind the camera. So at the end of the video, I'll show you what he looks like in the extreme setup. I think I said he cost $950. Shipping was a couple hundred from China, as it usually is. And I'm trying to think of more info. A lot of it, as I said in the beginning, I actually unboxed him live. So if you have questions on packaging or anything like that, you can go there. So let's just jump into the review. The nice thing is this is going to be a little bit quicker of a review because there's not a ton going on here, but the statue still makes a statement, which is awesome. And we'll start with that statement by talking about the concept of this piece. First of all, it's Wolverine. It's an X-Men, but it is not your traditional normal Wolverine. There's a lot of different things going on. Mainly, his body is so disproportionate. He's kind of roided out. And he's on a base, but it's a very simple base, and I absolutely hate plain bases. I would have liked to see more with this, which we'll talk about in a little bit, but he is in a museum picture pose, just showing full Wolverine. He's got his metallic claws out. His hands are disproportionate. They're a little bit big. His muscles are huge all over the place. He's flashing his claws like kind of the standard Wolverine pose. He doesn't have them up over his chest, but they're down below. And he, depending on which portrait you're displaying, because we're going to talk about in the design, he has a few different portraits. He is just badass Wolverine, sneering. Hence the name of the statue, Wolf Killer. This truly is a killer statue, killer pose, killer concept. And what I really like about this, like I said, there's not much going on here, but this statue really takes your attention away. And I think they did a good job really showing the concept of Wolverine, really focusing only on Wolverine, focusing on the paint and the sculpt, which we're going to talk about. I think it's an X concept. And the reason I think that is because I hate plain bases and I love this statue. It's really, really simplistic Wolverine. And the thing with Wolverine is you have so many different Wolverines to choose from. And this guy, without anything fancy, really stands out. So I think that's pretty cool. Let's talk about the design of the piece. And with the design, there's not a ton going on here. He's pretty easy to put together. His body is one piece. His hands are another. And his 3 portraits are another. So let's take a look at those portraits. The first is an unmasked portrait. And again, just like his muscles and everything else, all of the features are very exaggerated. And we will do detailed review of paint and sculpt of each portrait. But here he's got, you know, exaggerated eyebrows flowing in the wind. Then you have one with his cowl on and his mouth is closed, but he's baring his teeth. Very vicious. Has the longer fins, as I call them, his ears. And then my favorite portrait, which I will always display, his mouth open, very fierce, very hey bub. Now, one unfortunate part is with all these portrait switch outs, he has a very nasty seam line on the back. Check this out. That, combined with the fact that the base is so bloody boring, does take away from the statue, even though some people do like plain bases. That's just not me. So I think design-wise, everything else fits really well. I like the fact they went with big metal claws. I think that's a huge pro. Oh, I forgot the shoulder pads are also a separate piece. One thing on the shoulder pads, which we'll show close-ups in a few minutes, they have some battle scratches only on the back for both of them. So did someone jump Wolverine from the back? I don't understand that. I think that's a little miss in the story for the design as well. So because of that, I think it's a very nice design. Nothing amazing, but I think it's a V. Right in the middle, 3 out of 5, using the extreme scale. Now we'll dive into the paint and sculpt, and it's killer. It's really, really killer. It's just, honestly, other than 1 or 2 items that are decently big, I think it's going to be a question, is this a X or a W, a 4 or a 5? But we'll talk about both at the same time, then grade them at the end. Let's look at the base first, really quick, just one photo here. It's a black base. Paint job's clean on it. Looks good. His boots, they use these different, classic Wolverine colors, the yellow and the, not on the boots, of course, but the yellows, blacks, blues, and red belt. But the blues, different shades of blue in here, really cool. His feet are very large. They're larger than a traditional 1/4 scale Wolverine because, like I said, his feet, his arms, certain body parts are overextended, exaggerated. I like the black on here. I like the folds in it. Good sculpt. His calf muscles are gigantic. Again, over-exaggerated, really roided out like we're going to see. But some cool texturing on here. I like the black around the sides. Let's look at his leg muscles. Super roided out, just like most Wolverines. Has the lighter yellow on the outside than where the costume or the muscles divot. That is where you see a darker orangish yellow. The paint looks okay right here. I think it could have used some texture as well. I do like the muscles. I like the fact that the boots had a little bit texture, and you see that same texture on the underwear, his outside underwear. Just like his boots, some different folds, some different layers of that blue in there. Looks really good. See his red belt has some black paint mixed in with it. Classic red X on the front. Moving up to his torso. His back, totally rippled out, has the same paint effects we just talked about. The sewn-in black fins on the side, that's what I call them there too, that you see on the traditional Wolverine costume. You can see the costume folded over. You can see the muscles bulging beneath it. And on his front, you can't even see his abs because his chest is so being puffed out. Crazy, crazy roids everywhere. Check out his arms. I love the musculature. Like I said, it's not human. It's more cartoonish, dynamic, kind of comic slapstick style. Good paint. That pink tones and flesh tones, and then even the paint on the blue paint. Hints of blue on the veins. Looks really nice. One part I don't like, and I can't tell if it's the paint or the sculpt, is the arm hair. It's too much. I think it takes away. Almost looks like he has a skin disease. I think that's a big miss on it. So it's probably not going to be an X on paint and sculpt just because of that. Here's those shoulder pads I talked about. I like it's a metallic blue as opposed to a material blue, so a little bit different color. And you see the tarnishment, the age, the wear, some scratches on the back. Very, very cool. Check out his neck muscles. Again, just over-exaggeration all over on this anatomy, which is what makes this so unique and so cool. His gloves, just like his boots, little bit of texture on there, wrapped up around his muscles, great sculpt on his fingers. This is definitely overscaled, but it's meant to. And as I said earlier, the huge metallic claws look fabulous. Definitely the way to go with any Wolverine nowadays. Here's his unmasked portrait. Again, some close-ups. Let's look at the hair. The hair's kind of all over the place. Not a huge fan of this. It is supposed to be cartoonish style, and they did pull that off well. But it's just really, really interesting. I will never display this portrait. And it's not just because of the hair right here, but take a look at the portrait. His eyes are kind of this jaundiced, bloodshot color. And they're not crossed, but they're almost too close together. And it looks like he's trying to look at the tip of his nose and his huge eyebrows at the same time. He has his big 5 o'clock shadow on the bottom, which you're going to see on all of them. His lips seem very small. Not a fan of the unmasked portrait at all. Obviously, I do think it's cool they offered an unmasked portrait. Then here's his masked portrait. Let's look at his cowl really quick. Has the large fins, as I talked about. And you can see some of his muscle or expression below the cowl, which obviously isn't realistic. If he's, has an angry face, you wouldn't see his skin beneath his cowl move. But it helps make the statue look good. And you're going to see that even more on the next one where he's enraged. Very pink skin tones, just like his arms. I like how his lips are curled out and it's not even on each side. So it's more of an expression, more of a realistic expression on an exaggerated figure. His teeth look great too. They look even better on the next one. But very cool. I love the rage that's shown in here. And here's my favorite portrait. A lot of the same features we just talked about on that previous portrait. But one really big difference, obviously, the fact that it's open, so you get to see how well did they do on some of the gums, the tongue, and they did an awesome job. Has this clear resin effect on it. His lips pulling back over his teeth. He has his classic wolf-style painted teeth. Really, really cool. And, the thing about this, we're going to judge the paint and sculpt in a second here. If you don't like weird stuff like over-exaggerated muscles and very comic slapstick type character, you'll think the paint and sculpt on this is horrid. But if you appreciate it for the art and how different it is, and when I initially saw the renders like a year ago, I was not digging this at all. And then as the sculpts progressed more and more, and I saw it, it's like, man, I want that. That's pretty badass. I think the arm hair is a huge negative. I think they could have used some more texture in the actual suit, the yellow part of the suit. Those are the really big negatives. But I have to say, I think both the paint and sculpt on this are a clear W. 4 out of 5. They executed it extremely well. It's when you see a statue that really pops and there's not a lot going on it, that means they did a lot of really cool things right. Which is also why the statue, I think, is a W overall. That's the overall score. It's a 4 out of 5. They did a fantastic job. Very happy to have this piece. So, those are my thoughts on this guy. Very cool. Here is a picture of him next to where he's going to temporarily be set up at. And then check out some of my other Wolverine videos. This is... I don't even know what episode number this is. It'll be in the title, I guess. I totally forgot I used to do Wolverine episode videos. But I'll see you guys tomorrow with the third custom review, and it's actually going to review a license piece as well, one of the best license pieces out there. So until tomorrow, don't go fuck yourself.